Right, welcome to another video. In this video, I'm going to show you the best formations and custom tactics used with those formations. Post-patch from the, I think it is the post-patch from the patch, let's check, yeah, the 20th of November patch, I think it is. So that is the patch we're going off. So I'm going to get straight into it. So we'll go to custom tactics. I'm going to start with ultra defensive. So ultra defensive, the 4-2-3-1. The tactics for those will be, sorry, I noticed that is wrong. Sorry, balanced. I haven't changed it. But the best one to use is probably about balanced. I think so it's 3 depth and 4 width. You can kind of change it around slightly if you want to, based on how you want your play styles like. You can use possession or balance. Possession will keep you the ball. They're not really going to score as easily, but I do prefer balanced just because it sort of helps keep your formation and it's not too attacking compared to the others. Width, the narrower, the more defensive in general. So go 3-3 on the width. That is up to you for the width and depth compared to, like, if you're really good at defending, you think you are. If you think you're really good at defending, you might want to go a bit more or less width or more width. So I'm going to go 3-3. It's probably the best one for ultra defensive. Not drop back just because that'll make you too defensive and you'll never ever be able to score. And eventually they will find an opening quite quickly sometimes. Offensive style, yeah, so balanced, 4 width, plays in box. I reckon about 4 would be the best for most people. And corners and free kicks is lowest, so you're not going to be able to counter-attack whatsoever. And it's really easy to, so it's not too attacking. So that is it's not the most important ultra defensive, that's why I haven't really gone over it too much. So I've just gone with balanced and balanced. So don't worry about the ultra defensive too much. The main ones that you actually need to be focusing on are defensive, the balanced one, unless you use a certain formation for chemistry, which is fine. The attacking formation in the 5-3-2, which is my ultra attacking formation. So ultra attacking, attacking and defensive, the main ones you want to focus on. Ultra defensive, you can just do literally whatever you like with. That is fine, because you're barely ever going to use that, and that is quite suited down to how you prefer it yourself, rather than what someone's telling you. For defensive style, so a lot of you probably know that balanced was the best one to go with, but now our post-patch, pressure on heavy touch, is the best one to go with. So it keeps your formation, so you're not too open. But when it says that, yeah, when there's a loose ball or they try to make a pass, your team will be straight in there and you'll have possession back. 4 width and 4 depth. You don't want to be too wide, then you're too open in the centre. As you can see, with the 2 centre backs, if you look where the 2 centre backs are, you can see they're making a slightly larger gap in the middle. So 4 width, and the only reason not narrower is otherwise their wingers will be too open, they can easily score from that. Depth 4, you don't want to be too far back, then they're going to keep on having possession the whole way through, and eventually they will be able to score from far out, or just get through. And obviously not too far up, which is obvious reasons, defensive formation. Offensive style, long ball. This is the best one, and make sure your strikers make good runs in, because obviously when you're playing defensive, you're not looking to defend the whole time, just not concede. You're also you still want to obviously get goals. Defensive, just slightly more defensive. If you're winning, maybe 3-1 or 3-2 or 2-0 or whatever, as long as you have the lead, probably the best one to use. And if they're looking like they're going to score late game, I would also recommend not changing any formations in the first half of the game, just because the first half can change a lot of things. The second half is when you really need to worry about the scoreline. First half, just play how you're doing. You'll play your best, really, I suppose. So, yep, width. I'll go 3 off the first one, so I'm not sure how much that is. I think it goes up to 10, so that'll be 7. Yeah, 7 width. So the wider you are, the more attacking you are. So I've gone with this because as you can see, the 2 centre mids, so the CDM and the centre mids, it looks like, whatever I do, they're not moving. So that's completely fine. So then also you want those wide players to help out with runs and stop their wingers from getting through. Players in box 4, as not very many, it's defensive formation, and corners and free kicks have 2, just so there isn't enough people there to actually be able to score. But you're not going to be open to counter attack when you're only using 2. I didn't go through player instructions for the ultra defensive because that's completely up to you. The best thing to do is probably to put everyone on stay back while attacking. But I haven't really been able to. The patch hasn't been out long enough for me to discover what's the best for ultra defensive. But the 4-2-3-1 for me, I use for both defensive and ultra defensive. So if you really want to use an ultra defensive formation, just copy this one and make it even more defensive. maybe use left step and stay back on attacking on more players. We start with my striker, Martial. Stay central, I have you turned on now. Get in behind, normal interceptions and stay forward. Obviously it's a defensive formation, but you still don't want come back on defence, and you want to stay forward because then you have possession, you still want to be able to score. You're not looking to never score. And also, otherwise they're basically pointless having your striker. They're not on stay forward or get in behind. Your cam, which I put Rashford here. So you want basic defensive support, or come back on defence, or stay forward. So basic defensive is the best one. Support is the best one. Stay forward, make them too attacking, but it's not really defensive formation anymore. Basic come back on defence will be too defensive, and it'll be impossible to score really, because then it'll almost be like a CDM or a centre mid. So basic defensive support, and they'll still be helping out the defence, and then I'll use balance for everything else. I know a lot of people do like using conservative interceptions, which is good if you want to use that. Slightly less chance of you winning the ball, but your player energy will be conserved much more. So if you have certain players that you really don't want their energy to run out, or their energy runs out quickly, I recommend having that on. And also that is the exact same for the left mid and right mid, or left cam and right cam, whatever it is on this formation. So basic defensive support, default everything actually. And then this is where the things start changing. So 2 CDMs here. I recommend going with a slightly more attacking centered CDM and a slightly more defensive CDM. Pogba is my slightly more defensive one with drop between defenders, almost like a fifth centre back, but slightly more attacking. Cut passing lanes to stop them making through balls through, and then normal interceptions also cover centre. Otherwise they will end up too wide, and you want them to stop the players making runs down the middle. And your slightly more attacking CDM. Stay back while attacking, as it's still a defensive formation, but not quite drop between defenders. It's almost like another centre back, and then also cover centre and cut passing lanes. Not man marked just because they're not there a lot of the time when you need them, and their energy will run out much quicker. Centre backs, default, you should never really change centre backs on any formation unless you really want to. Goalkeeper comes for crosses and sweeper keeper is my personal preference, but that is completely up to you. That's what I've done on every formation. That's not just for this formation. Sweeper keeper, I prefer just because then they don't stand on their line useless when they can go for a ball and win it. And comes for crosses is the exact same thing. Sometimes when a cross is put in, they just stand there and they can get an easy shot away, and you'll concede. But if they come out, they'll just grab the ball. 99% of the time they'll win it, almost 100% of the time really. And then left back and right back. For the full backs, you want stay back while attacking. That is actually on most formations either way. Otherwise they will be almost like second wingers and they're way too far up. Their wingers will get through so easily. Conservative interceptions, if you want, it is completely up to you. And then overlap is the best one. So then they can also help out your wingers when you're attacking though. So I do have my balance formation. This will make it a bit confusing. So this is my balance one here. I actually do use balanced with half and half defensive, and then I use one less depth. I just changed it for some reason. And defensive style, long ball. So go with the depth and the width, however you're comfortable with. Long ball is probably by far the best one to use on every formation, more or less. And width, I go with half and players in box. For some reason, it actually changed it for me. I do actually normally use a much narrower width. Then your left mid and right mid will be. Sometimes I find them quite useless when they're out wide. They're not really doing as much as I want them to. But that's up to you as well. So we're there to score, but not too much. We're for the counter attack, which is fun. And corners and free kicks. For some reason it's put it on max. I don't know why. It should be on 2 for each. The same reason as it plays on box. Enough players there, but not enough so you're open to counter attack. Instructions. Comes for and sweeper keeper once again, like I said on my goalkeeper. Centre backs default. Full backs once again stay back while attacking. Conservative interceptions and overlap. Both the full backs. 2 CDMs. Once again go with one CDM that's slightly more like a proper CDM, and one more that's more attacking. Actually no, these are centre mid, sorry, because it's 4-4-2. You can use the 4-4-2 too, so you have the 2 CDMs instead, but I prefer this one. Just I've got Pogba and Bruno, who are slightly more attacking centre mids, so they're not very useful in CDM. So for Bruno, my more attacking centre mid, I've got get forwards, he's work a cam, balance crossing runs, cover centre, so then otherwise he's going to be too wide out, and normal interceptions, and stick to position. So you can change that to conservative interceptions on every player if you want to, but I just don't use it, personally. And that is it for him. Pogba is the exact same, apart from a drop between defenders. Just more defending, just helps out the defence. So that is it for him. Right, sorry, I was just checking what I was going to do next. So yeah, the left mid and right mid. Stay forward once again. No, yeah, sorry, I use stay forward personally, just because sometimes I can find with left mid and right mid, they can be way too far back, and almost they can be so the left mid and right mid can be too far back, and not quite useful enough as wingers. And two strikers, I use stay central, get in behind, normally interceptions, and stay forward, just so as attacking as possible at 4 strikers. And that is it for the balance formation. Now going to 4-2-2-2. Defensive style balance once again. Half with 3 depth. Long ball with 3 less on the width. I'm trying to go a bit quicker now to get through these. I've made other videos on the same ones before. Half with players in box. Corners 2 and 2. Instructions. I use stay central, get in behind, normal interceptions, and stay forward on both strikers. Left mid, or left wing and right wing, I think it is. Basic defensive support, balance crossing runs, stick to position, and normal interceptions. So default everything. CDM and there's 12 CDMs, one slightly more attacking CDM once again. So balance, cut passing lanes, balance attack, normal interceptions, and cover centre. As it's an attacking formation, you don't want to be dropped between defenders. And slightly more attacking CDM, cut passing lanes once again, cover centre, get forward, and normal interceptions as they help out the attack. Otherwise, there's a massive gap in the middle. And fullbacks are both balanced attacks, normal interceptions, and mixed attack. And then goalkeeper once again comes for crossing sweeper keeper. Centre back staying the same. And for the last one, 5-3-2, which is a new one. This is the main one that's changed after post patch. So you want constant pressure, max width and max depth, the possibly most attacking you can get. This is the ultra attacking one. Constant pressure, so you're winning the ball as quickly as possible. Long ball, making the best runs for your strikers, getting the ball nice and early up. Nice up for your striker to score. Width, once again, still quite wide when attacking. Like 6 width. Players in box 4 and corners and free kicks 4. No, 2 and 2. Otherwise, you never really need more than that. Otherwise, it becomes stupid and you will concede very quickly. Player instructions: stay central, get in behind, and stay forward. The only ones I've changed for the strikers once again, same on almost every formation. I think it is actually every formation. Then the 3 CDMs is slightly different. So you want you want cover wing on the widest 2. Otherwise, the wings are very open. And get forward, balance crossing runs. Well, everything's default actually, apart from get forward. Obviously, it's a very ultra attacking formation, so you want that on all 3 CDMs or centre mids, whatever they are. And then the centre one, you want cover centre. Does it help out in the centre? Otherwise, it's not in the centre whatsoever. 5 at the back. So drop your most defensive centre mid into defence, into the centre backs. I'll probably go to the middle one, as it is slightly more attacking, slightly more central. And for your wingers, also put them on the wide centre mids, as they will be covering wings, so they're almost like wingers anyway. And right back and left back, you may think 5 at the back seems much more defensive, but when you put join the attack on your fullbacks, they will be much more attacking. It's almost like wingers, but then you still have 3 at the back, which is much more useful and helpful to not concede, and comes for constant super keeper once again. So that's literally it for this video. Quite a long video just explaining the custom tactics post patch compared to the ones I had previously. So I do have videos on them previously. So you can see the ones I currently have now, very different to the ones before the patch, but they are the best custom tactics to use post patch. So I'll end this video and see you next time.